This one's for all you little boys and girls out there who just got into the Rocket League scene, for all you Weenie Hut Juniors who have yet to dip their toe into manhood and are still having wet dreams about the first double tap you ever hit. Well, we are going to be exploring the differences between RLCS and RLRS. If you find the information in this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into the video. So, if RLCS could be compared to Weenie Hut Jr., then RLRS would be Super Weenie Hut Jr. But come on, what is RLRS exactly? Well, to answer that, we're going to need to go all the way back to the beginning of Rocket League, back before RLRS, back when there was only an RLCS. So actually, there was no RLRS for the first 3 seasons of Rocket League. RLCS Season 1, 2, and 3 all had open qualifiers to get into RLCS, just like RLRS does right now. Pro players would compete in multiple qualifiers in different weeks, all trying to get into the one big league to really show everyone what they're made of. But there was a problem with this format. With this format, let's just say not all the good teams were able to fairly get into RLCS. In Seasons 1, 2, and 3, there would always be those 1 or 2 teams who you expected to make it that ended up not making it because maybe they had a harder side of the bracket. But then there was a team that you were for sure shouldn't have made it, and then they ended up making it and had the worst performance of their life in RLCS. So the format was good, however, it wasn't the best way to make sure that all the best teams were truly being represented in RLCS, and this is where RLRS comes in. So for RLCS Season 4, they introduced a new league. It was called RLRS. So a good way to describe what RLRS is using baseball. So in baseball, you have the major leagues and then the minor leagues. The minor leagues are where you would let players work their way up in skill, and then you would draft them into the major leagues once they're good enough. Well, RLRS is basically the minor leagues of Rocket League. Except you don't just draft players out of there, teams can actually get promoted from RLRS to RLCS. At the ending of each league, there's going to be a tournament called the RLCS Promotion Tournament. And how it worked originally was the top 2 teams in RLRS and then the bottom 2 teams in RLCS would battle it out, and the winners in the promotion tournament would go to RLCS and the losers to RLRS. And then the top 6 teams in RLCS would just keep their spot for the next season. So once they transition to this format in Season 4, now RLCS is as competitive as it could possibly be. Now there's no room for that one team to accidentally make their way in. Now nobody can say, wow, this team just doesn't belong here. Because now it's an even more competitive system and it's even harder to get into RLCS. So now RLRS basically has the same problem that RLCS did. Some teams that you think shouldn't have made it will make it, and some teams that you think should make it won't make it. But that's okay because it's the minor league, so nobody really cares. So now you understand the difference between Super Weenie Hut Jr. and Weenie Hut Jr. I mean RLCS and RLRS. But for those of you who really do want to watch RLRS and RLCS, what are the differences in format? What do players have to gain or lose by placing well in their respective leagues and doing bad in their respective leagues? Let's start with the major leagues, RLCS. So as of last season, there are now 10 teams allowed in RLCS and RLRS, so let's begin there. Now with there being 10 teams in each league, depending on which place you finish is the type of reward or the backlash that you will get for finishing in that certain spot. So the ultimate goal is to make it to RLCS Worlds and win the RLCS World Championship title. But how do you get to RLCS Worlds? Well, you do it through RLCS League Play, and the top 2 teams in RLCS League Play auto-qualify for Worlds, while the top 6 teams in RLCS League Play will then battle it out, both NA and EU respectively. Then 4 teams from North America and 4 teams from Europe, 2 teams from South America, and 2 teams from Oceania. At the end of the season, we'll go to RLCS Worlds, wherever that's going to be held, and then they'll battle it out there. So that covers the top 6 spots, but what about 7 through 10? Well, if you're able to grab that 7th place spot, then nothing happens. You don't go to the RLCS Regional Playoff Tournament to hopefully qualify for Worlds, and you don't get kicked out of RLCS. You basically stay right there. You just qualify for RLCS next season. But then if you're unlucky enough to get that 8th and 9th place spot, that's when you get relegated to the RLCS/RLRS Promotion Relegation Tournament. Going to the RLCS Promotion/Relegation Tournament doesn't mean that you're out of RLCS. Now it means you have to battle it out with some RLRS teams to make sure that you keep your spot. And if you lose, then you're going to be demoted. And then the 10th place spot. The 10th place spot is what everyone wants to avoid at all cost in RLCS. For those teams unfortunate enough in North America and Europe to get that 10th place spot, get auto relegated to RLRS for Season 10, which means they don't even get a chance to stay in RLCS. They have to grind all the way through RLRS to get back into this league. So you want to avoid that spot at all costs. That 10th place spot is just detrimental to your career. And now we've pretty much covered RLCS and the format and what you get for placing in each spot that you place in. But what about RLRS? Kind of like in RLCS, where if you get the last place spot, you get auto relegated to RLRS. But in RLRS, if you get the first place spot, you auto qualify for RLCS. So the first place team and the 10th place team switch spots basically. That way, you're guaranteed that at least one new team will be in RLCS for the next season. Then let's look at the second and third place spot in RLRS. Those second and third place teams qualify for the RLCS promotion tournament. Remember, as I said, the 8th and 9th place teams in RLCS go to the RLCS promotion tournament. So now we have 4 teams, 2 of the top 3 in RLRS, and then 2 of the bottom 3 in RLCS, and then they're going to battle it out, and whichever teams are better will end up being in RLCS, and then whoever's worse obviously gets demoted or stays in RLRS. And then let's take a look at those 4th through 7th place spots in RLRS. If you get that 4th through 7th place spot, just like placing number 7 in RLCS, nothing happens to you. You qualify for the same league next season. You don't go up, you don't go down, you don't go to any tournaments, you just are where you are. So that 4th through 7th place spot in RLRS is a good place to be in, because then you don't have to fight through the play-ins again next season. You have a guaranteed spot in RLRS. And now the bottom 4 positions, the 7th through 10th places in RLRS. This is what you want to avoid at all costs. Let's say a team gets auto relegated to RLRS, then does bad in RLRS and gets a 7th through 10th place finish. They are now out of competitive Rocket League. Not for good, but you're going to have to grind all the way back through RLRS qualifiers, RLRS play-ins, just to make it back to RLRS league play, which is a pain to do. You want to avoid those spots at all costs. So that means that through RLRS play-ins, 4 new teams will be promoted to RLRS for each season, the way that everything is set up now. So that is the difference between RLRS and RLCS, and how those 2 leagues connect with each other. How certain placements in one league affect who might be in that league the next season. For anyone who didn't know what RLRS or RLCS was, well, I hope now you have a better understanding. It's basically the minor leagues versus the major leagues. Now, which one should you watch? Well, this is kind of a no-brainer. RLCS, of course. Out of the 20 competitive teams for each region, RLCS just is going to be better skilled teams. It's going to be more fun matches to watch, and there's a lot more on the line, because then you're going to be looking at who's going to get to the World Championships, and there's just a lot more to watch. And that's not to say that RLRS is not fun to watch. If you are really, really into the Rocket League esports scene, you actually will probably really enjoy watching RLRS. However, in a lot of people's opinions, RLCS just is more fun to watch. You got better players, better teams, more to play for, and it's just all around more competitive. So that is it for the differences between RLCS and RLRS. I hope I explained in depth pretty much everything that you could have possibly needed to know about the 2 leagues, just so you have a firm understanding as to how the leagues work. If you guys did enjoy the video, if this did help you out in any way, shape, or form, it'd be awesome if you guys subscribe to the channel. This episode falls under my Versus series. I like to take 2 things, compare them, go over the pros and cons, the differences in Rocket League, just to give everyone a better information on those 2 topics, or those 2 things in general. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in a later video. Peace.